Okay, so today while I was at Target, I happened to find the G.I. Joe Classified series Scarlett from Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins. Yeah, like I've mentioned before in videos that I've done on other figures based on this movie, I wasn't that crazy about this movie. I had a lot of issues with it. I was even thinking I might go ahead and do a review of it, like, so I can be a little more specific about things I didn't like about it. But one of the things I did like about it was I actually really liked Scarlett in it. I thought they did a great job with Scarlett. So, yeah, this was a figure I did not mind buying, even though it came from that movie. So there's a lot of good figures from that movie, and I'll probably buy more. But every time I do, it's it's like, okay, but I'm gonna complain about it the whole time. I'd rather just see some regular classifieds coming out again. We've got some of those coming out soon, right? I know I've had Tiger Force Outback on pre-order from Target forever. They charged me for the thing, so I guess it's coming out soon, but I haven't seen it yet. The main reason I keep going into Target is because I'm still looking for that breaker with the Ram cycle, but I haven't found it yet. So it looks like like a lot of the other Snake Eyes Origins figures, fairly light on accessories. But, at least they got the most important one, which is her iconic crossbow. So I would have hoped, though, that maybe they'd have, like, some pistols or some knives or something. But let's go ahead and take her out of the package. First, let's get the crossbow out. And then we'll take out the figure. And the thing that struck me about this figure when I saw her at the store was this gorgeous head sculpt, which they did a really good job with. It looks like the actress, and more importantly to me, it looks like the character. That's what Scarlett ought to look like. Now, on the previous classified figure, I liked that head sculpt a lot too, actually, but this one's even prettier, so I like it even more. The other one I thought looked kind of like Gwyneth Paltrow, so I was thinking that, like, maybe I could put that on my rescue figure anytime I wanted an unmasked Pepper Potts. And if I get another one of these, maybe I could put that head on the classified figure. I was thinking I might try to get another one of these and paint her into like the old school colors of the action figure. We're going to discuss her colors in just a minute. First, I forgot to look at the package. Although most of the packaging artwork on this one is kind of dull, you got the same picture of Snake Eyes you got on the back of all the other ones, which is a nice picture of Snake Eyes, don't get me wrong, but it's just the same one we've got on all the other ones. But I did want to point out that the artwork of Scarlett on here is very nice. And it's kind of hard for me to get it in a good angle where you can see it without the glare from the computer or my lamp hitting it. But damn, that's a gorgeous portrait. And this one over here, I think I like even better. She looks kind of like OMG cosplay in that picture, if you know who that is. So, anyway, the colors on this are interesting, and I guess they're accurate to the movie somewhat. I don't know, but I noticed one thing that's kind of strange is that there's a yellow edging around the top of her leg armor here, but it does not go all the way down and cover the whole piece. Now, a lot of these colors are reminiscent of the original figure. Like, there's this kind of dark tan yellow kind of color. It's like a dark yellow, but kind of a little more on the tan side. I guess you would say goldenrod. And that reminds me a lot of how she's often colored on cartoons and comics, where like the tan parts of her costume are usually colored a little more yellow. And she's got one red shoulder pad, which I'm guessing is supposed to be an homage to the red pad that's supposed to be on her vest, like it's a sniper pad, like to rest the butt of a rifle against. But instead of being a pad on the chest, on like the shoulder here, It's just kind of an actual shoulder pauldron kind of thing. It might even be just like a patch on the sewn into the jacket. It's very thin if it is supposed to be armor, but they've got it on the wrong side. It really should be on the other side if that's what it's supposed to be. She doesn't have a backpack, but she's got a hole for a backpack. So if you want to take the backpack from one of the other figures and put it in there, you can. But this ponytail is going to get in the way. Now, one thing that I do think is definitely superior on the original classified head over this one is that this one, the ponytail is molded in place. You can't move it. If I remember correctly, the ponytail on the regular classified head is actually on an articulation. So you can move that one. But I like how the ponytail, uh, it's got like kind of like this leather wrapping around it here. That's kind of an interesting look. And I like the way that her hair's kind of falling out of the ponytail a little bit here, which is kind of how I always think of Scarlett. I always think of it being like she didn't put a whole lot of effort into putting her hair into this ponytail. It's just kind of like she grabbed a handful of her hair and put a scrunchie around it, and and then ran out there and got to work. So she's not somebody who tries to pretty herself up too much. She's a natural beauty, of course, but she's not somebody who puts a whole lot of effort into looking good. She just kind of looks good naturally, and she's more concerned about more pragmatic things like going out there and kicking some cobra ass. But yeah, like the uniform's mostly brown, and then it's got like some gray armor pieces to it, like a really dark charcoal gray with like some lighter kind of gray, almost like brushing, or like it almost looks kind of like somebody went over it with like a sponge and just kind of tapped some wear on there, like a lighter shade of gray to do that. So it does have colors in it that seem to pay homage to the original look of Scarlett, but at the same time, it's a much darker shade of uniform. Like if I were gonna, and like I said, I might buy a second one just so I can do this. If I was gonna repaint it to look more like the original version of Scarlett, and then you got to ask yourself which original version of Scarlett, because you've got the one from the Marvel Comics where her uniform was orange and purple, probably just because that was the best they could do with the coloring at the time to get accurate to it. They couldn't really do dark gray back then, so they just did purple, and they couldn't really do tan as well, so they just did orange. Do you do it close to the original figure? And a lot of people seem to have disagreements on how the original figure was colored. Like, is it a gray bodysuit? Is it a dark olive green bodysuit? Nobody really seems to agree on what it is, but I kind of see it as being dark gray, a light tan for the bathing suit area in the middle, and the gloves and the boots. So that's probably how I would repaint her. I would probably repaint the whole suit, all the brown stuff. I would probably repaint that to be with the dark gray, except for like here in the middle. Like I would have the whole all this armor and everything down around the waist. I would have all of that repainted to be like the tan color, and do the gloves and the boots the same way. And uh, then I would probably actually sculpt the pad on here so it can have the texture to it. The head I would leave exactly the same, because the head on this sucker is perfect. That's, like I said, that's about the best head sculpt of Scarlett I've ever seen. Like, even if you hated the movie and you just don't want any movie figures at all, buy this figure so you can have this head sculpt. It is worth it. And then just, repaint it to look like the original figure, so that way you don't have a movie figure anymore. But I kind of like the coloring of this as it is. This works for me as kind of more like a Night Force Scarlett, if that makes any sense. Like, if they'd repainted the original Scarlett to be a Night Force character, I could see that this would be how they would do it. Like, just paint her so like her arms and legs are like dark brown, and make all the rest of it gray. And that should be cool. That should be a good Night Force Scarlett. Okay, so before I end this review, I still haven't put the crossbow in her hand yet. and the string on the crossbow was a little warped. See that over there on this side? Um, I don't think that's that big a deal. That probably just happened in the packaging. And this seems to be like waxy plastic, as I like to call it. So I'm betting if I dipped this in some really hot water for like 30 seconds, used a slotted spoon, and dipped it in some boiling water for 30 seconds, it would probably uh, form back into shape. But let's go ahead and put the crossbow into her hand. And like with all classified figures, it's a tight grip. So I'm having to kind of force it in there. I probably would not, if you're doing this at home, I would not put any pressure on the string at all, because that seems like the sort of thing that could break fairly easily. Just put all the pressure that you put on it onto the actual body of the gun, and her finger does fit snugly into the trigger guard, and that's a great little crossbow pistol. A lot of times when they do a crossbow nowadays, they tend to make it like a full crossbow rifle. I know they did that with the one that came out like around 2002, the Joe versus Cobra one. But it is supposed to be a crossbow pistol, not like a crossbow rifle. So it probably shouldn't have like a stock or anything on it like that. It should probably just be like a pistol-sized gun, and it just happens to have a bow and arrow kind of melded onto it. But she looks good holding it. That's iconic. That's what Scarlett is supposed to look like. You can nitpick a little bit about the colors, and God knows I have, but but you don't get much more iconically Scarlett than that. So I'm really happy with this figure. Really, any of the nitpicks that I had with the coloration of it and stuff like that, it's the movie version, so I figure that's probably accurate to the movie. I don't really remember. I do think it's accurate to the likeness of the actress, who, like I said, I liked her in the part, and I thought she did a good job. If they ever do another G.I. Joe movie, I would not mind if they brought her back. So I don't know if they're going to do one anymore at this point, because Snake Eyes Origins did not do that well at the box office. But whatever. They're apparently still planning on doing that series on Amazon that's supposed to be more about Lady J, so maybe they can sneak her into that, who knows. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this time. I've got one more action figure that I found while I was out today, so I'm going to go ahead and do that video real quick. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Tell me what you think of Scarlett. What's the best Scarlett action figure that you've ever had? Maybe you're like me, and you haven't seen any Scarlett figures that were like 100% what you wanted, so you're just going to have to make your own. I've made a few Scarlett action figures, and I might put some up here. Might do some videos about some of the custom action figures that I did. But yeah, expect that if I can find another one of these, I'll probably repaint that, and I'll certainly do a video about that. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.